Hi guys, it's Mena, and today in this video I'm going to do my top 10 live action shows. And I'm going to say what each show is about, just in case you guys have never heard of these shows. But I bet a lot of you guys have heard of these shows, but I'm going to go ahead and say which one is which, so then you guys know. So I'm going to get started. So number 1 on my list, I have to be Unfabulous. And now, I bet a lot of you guys know what Unfabulous is, but I'm going to say what it is anyway. So, Unfabulous is about this teenage girl who dreams of becoming something more than what she is. And she's always making mistakes. Like she wants to be perfect and fabulous. Yes, but she's always like clumsy and making mistakes, like tripping and falling into things and knocking things over. And she does have like pretty funny daydreams where she's perfect. But then it ends up not being like her daydream. It is pretty funny. Number 2 on my list would be Nes Declassified School Survival Guide. You know what this show is a show about a kid who has this guide for surviving middle school. And they come up with like ideas to help you survive middle school. Well, which do look kind of useful. Like, for instance, if you pass notes in class, do like a footnote so then it, stick like for example, here's one. If you ever try to text message someone in class, make sure your text message ringer is off. Or, if you have a project you have to do on the computer for school, use your computer lab time wisely. So that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, he does come up with some pretty useful ideas. Yes, and it is pretty funny at the same time. Number 3 on my list had to be Zoe 101. This is one of my favorite teen shows. I loved this show when I was a teenager. It was one of my favorites. I like this because you got Jamie Lynn, because it's about this girl who enrolls into an all-boys boarding school, which is pretty funny. And this is like a boarding school that they're letting girls in for the first time ever. And they hang out with all these boys at the boarding school. And they try to make like light, and they go through all these like misadventures that happen to them while they're at the boarding school. It is pretty interesting. Number 4 on my list would be iCarly. This is one of mine and my mom's favorite shows to watch because it is a hilarious show. This show is about this girl who runs a web show, kind of like a YouTube. And on her web show, she and her 2 best friends, one that stars is in the show, and the other one who films the show, they both work together. And they do a bunch of crazy stuff. Like they'll either paint on somebody or film weirdos in the neighborhood doing things that are really weird. Or they'll make up like some funny jokes. It is pretty funny. Number 5 on my list would have to be Drake and Josh. Now what this show is it involves like 2 stepbrothers who are married, who stars Drake Bell and Josh Peck. And honestly, when I was a kid, I actually had a celebrity crush on Drake Bell. I thought he was super cute. Yeah, he was super duper cute. And they had these like weird adventures that happened to them. Like they had something cool that was cool, but then it ended up being bad. Like for instance, here's an example. Sorry if I give it away for those who haven't seen this episode, but one time they were tricked into thinking someone would redo their living room, but then they come home and all their furniture from their living room was stolen from their house and not redone. Which is pretty funny. Funny because they are like so gullible when it comes to advertisements. Numbers, and they're honestly seem to be not very bright, which is pretty funny, even though one gets A's and one gets D's. Number 6 on my list had to be Hannah Montana. Now, I don't like Miley Cyrus at all, but to be honest, I did like her in Hannah Montana because I did find her pretty funny. Funny, like, I loved her, something say what, or her other tagline, which was sweet niblets. It was pretty funny. Like, she was like a pop star trying to live a normal life as a teenager. And she constantly was like, has like weird adventures going on with her and her friends. It was pretty funny. Funny, like, there was so much stuff going on with them. And they'd be like having goofy events, along with her brother, too. Number 7 on my list had to be The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Now, this show involves 2 twins who live in a hotel with their mom. Mom, because she works as a headliner there. And they constantly are goofing around and fooling around in the hotel, which is pretty funny. And they end up, like, getting into a whole bunch of trouble. With their, with the, person who runs the hotels. The hotel, like the hotel manager. They get into so much trouble with the hotel manager. Sure, it is pretty funny. And yeah, it is pretty funny. And they have like a lot of adventures, and they're hanging out with all their friends. They make friends at the hotel. It is pretty cool. Number 8 on my list would have to be All That. Now, what All That was, it was a skit show. It was full of, like, comedy skits. It was pretty funny. It was one of my favorite shows. This was on in, like, the 90s, and this is where I first actually saw Amanda Bynes when I liked her. As a kid. Like, one skit I used to imitate from her show when I was little was the, Ask Ashley. It was pretty funny. That's me. Yeah, I don't know. I still can't really do her main tagline, which is that. Ignore that. That was my phone. Her main tagline, which was "That's me." It's pretty funny. That was my favorite skit out of the entire show. Number 9 on my list would have to be Lizzie McGuire. Now, to be honest, I never really watched Disney Channel until I was like in my teens. I really like this show because it involves a girl learning about life and figuring out life and what it's like and growing up and stuff like that. And she even has the tendency to help out her enemy that she doesn't like. Which is pretty cool, even though the enemy used to be her friend. And she like makes mistakes and she learns from her mistakes too. Number 10 on my list had to be Wizards of Waverly Place. I like this show because this involves a family of wizards and 3 of them are in training, and 1 is actually a wizard. And the dad teaches spells to the wizards in training, which are his kids, which are Alex, played by Selena Gomez, Justin, who is played by David Henry, and the guy who plays Max, I don't know what his name is. If you guys remember Wizards of Waverly Place and you know the guy who plays Max's name, oh, never mind, Jake T. Austin, sorry, I couldn't think of it at first. And they both try out spells that their dad teaches them. And every time Alex does a spell, she always messes it up. But every time Justin does the spell, it goes perfectly. It is pretty funny. Okay, so those are my top 10 live action shows. So I hope you guys liked the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!